Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome one and all to Randomised Gaming. And I will be your host for this video, Random Gamer Riven. Now, just before we begin today's indie game first impressions video, I would just like to make everyone aware that we have now officially started monetizing some videos to help support the channel. I'm not going to overload people with adverts, so we are limiting to just basically the front ad and single pop-up, because I've seen some videos that are like tracked full of adverts and you even get breaks. Basically, the adverts will be at the start of the videos. Not everyone will be able to see these adverts, as I'm sure quite a few of you will be running ad blockers and ad things on YouTube. But can I please ask you, if you do like our channel, just turn them off for our videos, as any revenue we earn will be put towards the channel. And maybe one day we'll eventually be able to have enough revenue so that we can do, if we get to the ideal scenarios, I'd like to be doing 5 videos a week and would be covering a mix of retro, modern and indie games each week. At the minute, Randomised Gaming averages about 3 videos a week, and predominantly I'm the main video creator here. But hopefully if we could increase the studio setup, I'd hope to be able to do 5 videos, one for every weekday, and perhaps an alternative rotating weekend video, so 6 videos, 1 week Saturday, next week Sunday. That would be my ideal setup. I always think we should always have at least one break day, however. However, one thing we'll be concentrating more is on independent developed games on top of all the retro stuff and modern games. But I want to give more of a platform to indie games, and that's why we're going to start looking at a lot more of them. And I've been contacted of late by a few indie games developers. I've also reached out to a couple, and so we're going to start covering a few more over the next few weeks. And this first one is a successfully Kickstarter funded title, and it's called, now apologies if I do get the pronunciation wrong, as I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce it, but I believe it's Nogalious. So it's Nogalious. You could pronounce it Nogalious, Nogalious. I believe it's Nogalious, so apologies if I have pronounced it wrong to the developers. It was developed by, and this I'm definitely going to pronounce wrong, their studio's name is LUEGOLU3GO Studios. They're a Spanish studio, and the main creator behind it is Raul Nogalious. I believe the actual game's name might be a twist on his own surname. Now, Nogalious is a retro 8-bit themed platformer. I'd say bits of it a little bit more 16-bit based on my personal opinion. It reminds me more of an Amiga game, but it's clearly inspired by Commodore 64, MSX and quite a few other of the old home computers, and they are actually releasing a number of versions. There is an MSX version coming, but the primary version that you're seeing here is the Steam PC version. I believe it's also coming to Switch and a few other retro formats as well. So just to explain, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the tutorial and the first 2 stages in Nogalious, and I'm going to give a description of what I think and provide a few pointers on the design coming from the industry myself as a professional. If I spot any issues, I will flag them, and hopefully the developers will get a chance to fix them. Bear in mind, this has only just been released, so you may well see that the game gets heavily updated. So in a few years' time, this video may well be well out of date, so to speak. I mean, they do plan to release this as part of a trilogy. In fact, this is just the first game. The planned sequels are Marilia and Dragonetti, both of which are planned as the second and third part of this trilogy. So it's going to be interesting to see how this trilogy develops over the next few years. Marilia, I believe, is planned for release later in the year, with Dragonetta currently planned to be released in 2019. And finally, before we begin rolling the gameplay footage, just to make you all aware, as in the interest of disclosure, we were provided a 3 Steam key for this game by SuperIndie.Games, who are working with the developer. However, we here at Randomised Gaming maintain full creative control over the video. Okay, so just before I start the game, as you saw there, that was the story background. I'm just going to quickly show you the option menu. And as an industry professional myself, I just want to point something out to the developers. Language is spelt wrong for English. That's not how you spell it. There are a couple of issues with the actual script, as you'll see as I play through the game. There are a few issues with it, and it's some of it's phrased in a way that a natural English-speaking person wouldn't say. So that's something I think the developers might want to have a look at and try to revise for future patches. Another point, just make note to the developers. Nogalious is based on the old school style games, and it might be a bit tricky for some newer gamers, so I would perhaps suggest an option to increase the number of lives and credits made available, and perhaps having an option in the online record just to quote exactly how many lives players used, so that way you could still see whether they used loads or if they finished the game with just one life without dying. There's something to think about for inexperienced players. I think some may struggle with it because you do have a finite number of continues, and once you run out, it's game over. This intro really does remind me of the old school classic arcade stuff like Ghosts and Goblins, like Splatterhouse, like Toki, so all those games where you saw like the heroine or the children of the hero get kidnapped. Do the tutorial just to show you what the game's like. I'm just going to allow the wise man just to quickly speed through, but I'll just briefly explain what he's saying. So, very important, dashboard, blah blah blah. Left, the tutorial is actually a stage name. You've got your score and you've got your number of remaining lives. It doesn't show you the number of credits except when you die, so that is the number of clues hidden on each world. That's the number of secret exits hidden on each, or secret areas hidden on each. This is the number of dragon stones, which I believe are very important for the game. You've got your weapons that you can select, and you've got your hidden power objects, which give you special abilities, but you lose them if you die. Now, first off, visually, this is very much in the retro world. It does look very nice. It reminds me of a Master System game, I have to admit, and there's some really nice subtle touches. So you've got the clouds moving in the background, we've got the birds swinging away. Another one that's quite nice, such as the butterflies. If you jump near the butterflies, they fly away for a little bit. So that's really nice. And again, we've got the NPC who looks at me as I walk around, which is not that common to see in a lot of games. Often you just get the NPC sit still, so at least he's trying to face us. So the game does have an interesting jump. You'll notice what I'm just doing there. It has a very archy pattern with the jump, and you do need to get used to that a little bit. You go up before you go left or right, so now the next up, probably a really big skill is you'll uncover a lot of secrets moving and pulling stuff. As you press Y to move and pull stuff, to jump up into the box, then jump up, grab the arrow, and then I'm going to use the arrow, select it, and then I'm going to jump up and shoot. Second time lucky, yep, and there we go. We hit that, reveal a ladder, and then we can grab the dragon stone, go speak to the wise man. So then we grab the key, and the key allows us to move on to the next stage. And basically when you grab the key, you get an arrow pointing at the next stage. You can now leave the area. One slight gripe I have is really the arrow should flash even if the area is an open area, because you get some areas that don't have that arrow hand and you can immediately leave, but it's not always clear that you can immediately leave an area. Sometimes you might think you've got to grab something, and initially, as the first time I played it, I always felt that every area was going to have a key. So the first area that didn't have one, I was like, where's the key? And then I realized, oh, I can actually leave this area. So that's something the developers might want to just consider making a slight adjustment to, just having the arrow hand in if there's an area you can just immediately move to. So we've got the sword there, just going to grab that and chop up this mouse. That's the first enemy in this tutorial. And we can grab the boomerang, which is a weapon, and the dynamite. Although it looks, to me, they look more like mines, but it's a dynamite. I'm just going to lay a couple of them down. Like I said, little Easter egg here. Watch what happens to the old guy when the mines go off. So, yep, taking out the enemy, and we've upset the old man if it weren't for... Oh yeah, and he also tells us to avoid those blackberries because they will kill us if we touch them, and there's lots of blackberries, so you've got to be very careful with a lot of your jumping. And grab the key, and now we are into the first stage of the game. So here we are, first stage, as we leave the village, and you've got the water drops that will kill you, we've got the arrow that will kill us, and the blackberries in this first scene. So I'm just going to be careful where I jump, and I'm going to need to grab that key, and then that will allow me to escape this area. Right, here we go. There we go, jump. White jump. And jump. And down to grab the dynamite, and away we go. Now, that hint is actually telling me about secret areas I can grab it. Sometimes there are more game fields beyond the sky, and he ain't half kidding. As I'm going to do this. Oh, and yes, one thing you have, some enemies do and don't hurt you. Those birds aren't direct enemies, they can't kill you, but if they touch you, they touch the vine. Oh, my mistake. If they touch the vine, they will destroy the vine and it will drop down. Now, before I jump down, I'm actually just going to sit here for a minute or two, and you will see a pair of boots come along, and if I grab them, I will now have an extended super high jump, which is really helpful, but if I die, I will lose this extended jump ability. I'm just going to jump over him and dodge back to the water and then jump on. So press B and then you can actually see the wise man again. Be careful with these branches, they might not always help you. So one thing I should point out is these two birds. The pink one will kill you on touch. The purple one won't kill you on touch but will destroy the vine. So you need to keep that in mind. And I'm just going to jump when the water's not dropping, grab the key, and here we go to the next scene. One thing you've got to watch is occasionally the scene transitions is very quick. And you can inadvertently... I've just grabbed a secret cape there. But you can inadvertently literally hold left and then suddenly walk into a instant death, which I have done on numerous occasions. The other thing I should note to the developers, I had one issue here where the vines weren't respawning because I had the bird hit the vine twice in quick succession, so that might be something they want to look at. I've also had some times where the vines have graphics corruption and appear invisible, or parts of them appear invisible, so that's something again they might want to quickly check out. So this extended jump makes this section easier, but I've got to be very careful not to get struck by the lightning and not to land on the platforms once they are lit up by the lightning, because the flames burn for a little bit and will kill you. Now I can't find one of the secret bits, so I'm wondering if having the boots to the end of the stage actually benefits you in some way. However, I've not been able to get the boots to the end of the stage just yet. So that clue was telling me about hidden walls, and some will literally go into transparent as you walk through them, which is quite a nice touch, because sometimes, normally in a lot of old games, the invisible walls just stay present and you just literally walk through them, and that was never clear to the players, and there were countless games where you find hidden things like that and you're just like, ah! So I could just walk through that wall the whole time, and yes, I can now do that arg again because I've been electrocuted and I've lost my boots. Okay, this scene again, quite a nice easy one, just gotta get... So, talk to the wise man. I'm going to give you this key in exchange for your magic stones collection. But yes, do remember you can talk to the wise man in the well. So I'm just going to jump across, grab the key, and then escape this area. Okay, little hint here, push that. In fact, pull that. And a stone should appear, but it's not appearing. No, I might have grabbed it when I pushed it across. Let's use this. Oh! I've got them down just to get the archers. There aren't any other secret bits in this area, although I still can't find one of the clues, so there might be a secret I'm missing. But this is pretty much the end of the first world, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to chat to the wise man down the well one last time. So he's going to give me a shield and a key, and then it's on to everyone's favourite time. It's bus time! And some really nice water effects as well here. I do like the rain here, so kudos to the artists for doing this stuff. And here we go with Zavaka. So basically this guy throws the little dudes out. He will swipe you if you get too close. And he also runs into the trees and then hides and then pops out of them. So you've got to be a bit careful. You have to stay towards the centre of the screen. Otherwise you can get into a spot of bother when he pops out. A bit like there, actually. So I find the best tactic is to be as aggressive as you can with him. Right, see if I can get him this time. It's weird, sometimes you get a really good run when you get him straight away, and other times he can be quite problematic. I'd want to jump at his head and attack him, but you don't actually have to do that, but it just kind of feels the way you should instinctively do it to try and avoid the hand attack. One thing I will say, occasionally the collision I think might want to be looked at slightly, because it doesn't always feel that you're getting the enemy with the edge of the weapon. Certainly during some of the frames of the actual attack animation. Feels like you have to wait for the sword to be fully out. And one game I should say this does remind me of hugely, on top of Ghosts and Goblins and Ghouls and Ghosts, is Wonder Boy. This really does feel very Wonder Boy inspired, hence why I actually said the Sega Master System earlier, because it does remind me very much of the Wonder Boy games, which I am a huge fan of. So here we go, on to World 2, The Cemetery. So we've got some zombies coming straight out. So we've got some nice visuals again this time. It does feel a bit like a creepy dead cemetery. And oh, we got them. Oh, that's the first time I discovered that actually. I didn't realise you could push those to get the lines. So okay, that doesn't feel quite right. Yeah, but I'm going to just push this one across. I'm going to pull it. And there we go with the key. So now leave this section, but so those gas clouds you can actually jump on, they are platforms but they fade after time. And just grab that dragon stone. I don't think there's any secrets here. Press B by these graves in the mausoleum. Oh, you have actually got a stone there. Can we do anything with that? No, by all accounts. Okay, now this scene is a real annoyance because this bird, there's something not quite right with his collision. Every time I try to strike at him, he has always killed me. Even when I kill him, he always kills me. Again, this is the point about secret areas and being able to leave an area instantly without realising it. So I'm just going to jump. There's no arrow to tell me, but I can just go through this way. And the Gravekeeper gives me a nice little hint. Let me tell you a secret. You can find treasure in secret passages beneath the stone. Now, another point to the developers. These gas clouds, these are poison. As far as I can tell, these are supposed to be a poisonous gas cloud. It's a little bit confusing to the player because they're the same colour as the gas clouds you can jump on, that these aren't platforms. I think they should be purple or green to give a hazardous feel, but at the minute they aren't, so it appears you can jump on them, but if you do, instant death. If you touch them, they kill you. So these slimmer ones, because they're supposed to be like a poisonous thing, need to, I think, have their colour changed to make it clearer to the player. Whereas you see here, these ones you can ride, and because they're the same colour, it's a little bit confusing. So that's what I mean about trying to hit this birdman. Every time I try to hit him, he has just killed me outright. But I'm just going to take the secret passage, which is the advice of the Gravekeeper. Be careful, the spider's jumping out. Let's try this way. Oh, lots of water, so I won't be going that way, so I will have to fight that big spider down below. And in the words of a certain Lando Calrissian, here goes nothing. Come on. Da-da-da. Okay, got him, and we've got the shield as well. Okay, just be careful of that spider. Grab the dragon stone, and it's... ooh, that's annoying. On to the next thing. Now, this is the point I made about it being a little bit confusing that whether these are deadly or not. So you can see the spikes below, and you might assume they're platforms, but if you jump into those gas clouds, they do hurt you. So it'd be great if they change the colour of them actually, just to make it a bit clearer. They are very dangerous. Another thing here, this section here, it's not clear. The rocks blend in very, very closely here. I would advise they're recolored to a lighter brown to make them a bit clearer. For me at the minute, with the daylight, the rocks here that are falling down at the minute are very indistinguishable with the background, so a brighter colour like a light brown would make them much more clearer. He's got a little gnome fella here. There's something to discover if you follow the spiders. Take that, it will help you. I should say take this, ideally. Take this, it will help you. So grab the little potion there and hit that switch. We'll be using that switch later because I think that affects something upstairs. He's got lots of little gnomey treasures as well. Sadly we can't eat the carrots, but oh well. Now, I have got to get this potion in order to use it across without dying to previously. Okay, so you can recollect the potion as long as I don't rush it and run to the skeleton again. So potion's back, jump the skeleton, and I'm going to take my time here. This is what I mean about the game can be quite tricky at points. There's some really nice secrets here. So this is the soul pit, so we're back at the lake, and you see there the switch and stuff has made sure that the lake no longer has any water in it, and this potion allows me to do this. So yes, I can grab the feather and I can grab the boomerang. And that's a really nice little secret there, really cleverly done. It's quite nice to do, get these type of bonuses. So there's a nice little explorative side. It does remind me of like games like the Dizzy where there are lots of hidden stuff, and some of the old, like even Super Mario World, where you have huge amounts of secret levels if you want to see everything with all the hidden exits and everything. Okay, so second time lucky this time around doing that jump section. I won't actually complete the second level. I'm going to get to the puzzle boss battle and then I'll leave it there. And I'll leave you to decide for yourself how to work out that puzzle boss battle. Oh! I'm going to be cheeky and hope that when I die I get taken back up. Yeah. I shouldn't really be doing this thing as I'm running low on credits, but it's just a bit quicker if I do it this way. So you can whack these platforms here and they will disintegrate. I grab the silver key, as sadly that's not the bonus we want. Got you killed. It's a message about something I've read it before. I didn't realise I was going to skip so quickly actually. So if you go this way, the Gravedigger area again. I don't think you can enter that mausoleum. Nope, no secret mausoleum. I'm saying I found all the secret areas, so. And here we go. This is actually the graveyard exit, and you can go through here into the puzzle boss battle section thing. There's not really. Well, I suppose it is a little boss, but you've got basically a little puzzle here that you have to solve by using the arrow on the tombstones to light them up in a certain order. I'm not going to show you that order. I'm instead going to just carry on talking, and instead I will allow you to figure this out for yourself at a later date. So that just gives me enough time to say that Nogalious is out now on Steam, and it's a nice little game I think overall. I do think there needs to be a bit more polish here and there. Certainly if you liked this old school style of platformer, so if you like the Wonder Boys, if you like the Dizzy games and quite a few other titles from that era, you will definitely like this one. So price wise it is £7.19 in the UK. Having checked a few sources for the US and Euro prices, I can't directly see them without using VPNs and things like that. I believe it's $9.99 and €8.19. I think it might be a touch expensive at that price. I think, for me, I think a £6 price tag in the UK might have been a better price tag. But that's purely my feeling. It is a nice little game. If you like this type of stuff, it's definitely one to certainly look at. Overall, it's a pleasant looking title that does use a good representation of the 8-bit and 16-bit era. The music is very nicely done as well for the era. It certainly doesn't grate on you, unlike some retro games, like I think Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which did kind of grate with the retro music. This kind of just sits nicely in the background. And certainly playing this, I do think the name does remind me a bit of the word nostalgia as well. It'll be interesting to see going forward how this trilogy of games emerges, so I certainly think this might be one series to watch. So all that leaves me left to say is I've been your host for this video, Random Gamer Riven, on behalf of Randomised Gaming. And as always, if you like this video, please do hit that like button, and of course if you like our content, please do as always subscribe to the channel, and you can also hit that little bell button to get more notifications. Supposedly it works. I've heard some people complaining it doesn't work that particularly well. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and goodbye for now.